Plaintiff Nicholas Savage dated the defendant's daughter, and for a short time, he lived with the defendants. Nicholas claims after the defendants kicked him out, they put his property outside, and the property was destroyed, so he's suing. Defendants Dino Crandall and his wife Linda say after Nicholas moved in with them, they discovered a violent past. Dino claims after a disagreement, Nicholas verbally assaulted him and tried to get his daughter fired, and they're countersuing for unpaid rent.
Start with you.
Back in November of 2018, Your Honor, I had met the defendant's daughter, Rachel. Me and her started dating, and during that whole time, things kind of went downhill with my living situation. So I had asked them if it was possible if I could move in, and they ended up taking me in. During that whole time, I started noticing that Dino, he was really controlling, manipulative.
I object. Did you work?
Did I work? Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how did you notice all of that? You just took a lot of time off. Go ahead. Did he work consistently?
What was that?
Was he laying around sometime, or did he work all the time?
He was at work most of the time,
Okay.
and so was I, Your Honor.
So how did he know all this then? Go ahead.
Well, Your Honor, you know, I noticed it most when I was at home during the weekends because I worked Monday through Friday. Me and Rachel always were trying to get out of the house because of how he was. You know, he always wanted to see what my bank account looked like. There was a time where Rachel, she was, you know, half dressed, and he just barged right in and sat there and wanted to, you know, have a conversation.
Know about the money.
No, it wasn't about the money.
How much were you supposed to be paying him?
We never had an agreement.
Well, that's why you want to look at your bank account. What did his account say?
I've actually never asked him for his bank account.
Never did?
No.
Well, you should have. You want to check it now? You still live there?
No, sir. In that whole time, I started noticing that Dino, he was really controlling, manipulative.
I object.
Did you work?
Did I work? Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Okay. Yeah. Well, how did you notice all of that? You just took a lot of time off. Go ahead. Did he work consistently?
What was that?
Was he laying around sometime, or did he work all the time?
Plaintiff Nicholas Savage dated the defendant's daughter, and the defendants claim after a disagreement, Nicholas tried to get their daughter fired.
All right, go ahead. So he was checking your account to make sure you were broke before you lived there without paying. That's right.
So during that time, I did actually end up paying Dino $500 for the whole time that I was staying there. He did mention to me and Rachel that he was moving to a new place.
How long did you stay there? November through what?
April.
Okay. He said he was moving.
Yep, he said he was moving, and then he had sat down with me and Rachel, told me and Rachel we don't have to pay rent. Okay.
Man, that's a good deal. You had $100 a month when you did pay. And then he said you don't have to pay anything at all.
Right.
Not only was she in love with you, he was too. I don't know whether you know it or not, if that's the kind of deal you got. Let me hear from you all. Give me some background on your relationship with him and anything else you want me to know before we get to the property he's suing about.
In November, he did start dating my daughter, Rachel, here. And we allowed him to move in because he lost his place to live. I don't know the situation, didn't ask. So he stayed all the way up until April, which was 5 months. In that 5 months, found out from his own words that he assaulted his past landlord. He started trying to assert his authority.
There was no assault.
And he was asserting his authority, trying to tell my younger daughter that she was lazy, needed to get out and get a job. I'm the father.
Well,
that is my position to talk to her about, not his.
Well, maybe she should have been in our business then, huh?
So,
be careful, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
he could be a father like me.
I'm also a father too.
So
I'm telling you, if you talk like that to me about my daughter, it's not gonna make it out the room. So that's what I'm telling you. Be careful talking to this man about his daughter. Go ahead. So he was beginning to assert himself, or talking about your daughter needs to get a job and that she was lazy, and he living in your house.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So during this whole time, my wife and I, we were trying to buy a house, which he knew about this from the day that he moved in. We signed a purchase agreement on a house, so everybody knew it. 45 days, you had to be out. That included us. So 2 weeks before the closing date, got a phone call from my daughter that they were denied for an apartment because he had an unlawful detainer on his record from assaulting a previous landlord. She asked me what she was going to do, and I said she can move with us. She asked me what Nick is going to do, and I told her he's not moving with us because I want no more lost puppy dogs in my house. That was a quote. So it all went downhill from there. After that, Nick he actually started yelling at me on the telephone, verbally assaulting me, telling me that I screwed him over. A few days after that, he calls my daughter's work, which I have an affidavit from her work, tried to get her fired. Then he also called my work, which I have an affidavit from my boss, tried to get me fired.
What was the agreement on rent? That's what you're countersuing for. You should have been suing for harassment as well. Calling folks jobs, that's the worst type of harassment. With regard to the rent, what was the agreement on that?
When my daughter approached me on him moving in, he agreed to pay $100 a week while he was staying.
A week or a month?
He said $100 a week for when he was staying there. He was only supposed to be there
Never agreed on anything.
That's reasonable.
He was only supposed to be there for 3 weeks. He ended up staying for 5 months.
Okay. And he says he never agreed to pay you anything.
No agreement.
So $100.
Does your daughter want to say anything about that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you understand? State your name.
Rachel Crandall.
Was there an agreement that he pay your dad $100 a week?
There was. I was standing right there. It was a conversation between all of us at the time. There was an agreement.
Okay. All right. Tell me about the unreturned property that you're suing for.
Your Honor, well,
What happened?
the unreturned property that I have is on April 9th. I sat there and I told Dino, hey, I'm coming the following Saturday to pick up my stuff, which would have been April 13th. I had a text while I was at work from Dino stating, and I have the text messages right here, Your Honor, if you'd like to see.
Let's see them, please. What did they say?
And it was sleet and rain outside that
On the
day.
9th, you agreed that you would pick the things up on the 13th.
Yes.
All right. What happened?
On the 12th, I got a text while I was at work, Your Honor.
That's
saying
what this is?
Yep. Saying that that my stuff was placed outside. And it was sleet and rain that day. And some of the property that I have was very expensive, like the RC cars that are there. I use the RC cars for racing, which is
Do you have the one on April 9th where it said you could come and get it on the 13th?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me see that. That's critical.
There's a time where Rachel, she was, half dressed, and
I
he just
object.
barged right in and
I
sat there
object.
and wanted to, have a
I've never
conversation.
Know about the money.
No, it wasn't about
How
the
much
money.
were you supposed to be paying?
Hey, we never had an agreement.
Well, that's why you want to look at your bank account. What did his account say?
I've actually never asked him for his bank.
Oh, you never did?
No.
Well, you should have. You want to check it now? You still live there?
Plaintiff Nicholas Savage dated the defendant's daughter, and the defendants claim after a disagreement, Nicholas tried to get their daughter fired.
Sir, what do you say to this?
All the stuff that he's asking for, he previously had. 2 days before this all went down,
2 days before what went down?
of him being denied for the apartment.
Okay, and that was before April 9th?
Yes.
Okay. What
2 days
happened?
before that. He actually had brought in his RC cars to his work, and he was off
He brought what?
these RC cars that he's talking
What
about.
are those? You have a list of the things?
Yes, I got the.
And
I
what
got
are
a list.
RC cars?
They're the hobby scale RCs that I rather would do instead of doing drugs,
This
basically.
man got a hobby of a bunch of cars?
Yes.
They won't pay you?
Yes.
Oh, these
Well,
are toy cars?
It's actually becoming a really growing
They're
sport.
toys, though.
They are, yes.
It's not like a big car.
They're expensive toys. I ended up losing a sponsorship because of the one buggy was
Oh,
not.
you're a professional that makes money off of this?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, he can certainly pay you.
Yeah.
He's a professional.
Yes.
He's a professional race car driver.
I should
And they
have. We
make
should have been
big
in the
money.
whole time.
You run around here, a race car driver, and don't want to pay rent.
I was willing to pay. I
You were in
told him.
tournaments? When was the last time you won anything?
The last time I won anything was the last race I actually had that car.
Okay.
So
You got your trophy?
That one, no,
You
they-
leave his trophy? You didn't throw his trophy out. did
Never
you,
seen
sir?
a trophy.
Didn't see it.
There was no trophies given out at these.
Well, you
because-
haven't won anything. Race car drivers get trophies. They get them this big. You haven't won a thing. That's why he can't pay you. You ain't won nothing. What happened to your things? Were they put out in unsafe conditions?
Yes, they were, Your Honor.
What
When I
happened to them?
When I had gotten there, she said it was covered. It clearly wasn't. All my stuff was waterlogged.
I
A
object,
few of my
Your
clothes.
Let me see where you had to pay for anything new.
This is a receipt on one of the things that I did have to get this or try to replace. This is a affidavit from the hobby specialist showing that I did have to rebuy a certain truck, showing that I did pay for it. And then this is the bill of sale for $1,200 for the 1RC.
Sir, what do you say to this? Ma'am? Mm-hmm.
We actually have pictures here of him saying that we didn't give him his stuff. His stuff was all bad. We actually cleared the snow around the area at the end of the driveway. We put his couch out with all his stuff there.
Why did you have to put it out if you all had agreed to the 12th? Sir?
We put it out because he could not give me a specific time. If you read that paper, he was trying to get.
And
there
you
between-
told him you were putting his things out?
Yes.
Not at that time. I was through the whole text messages that he was sending my wife, which we got him all right.
When did
here.
you give him notice that you were setting his things out?
I never gave him notice that I was setting things
That's
out.
where you went wrong.
I
But
have a police report, Your Honor, as well.
Let's see it. What are you going to
Police
say, sir?
report indicates
I was going to say the reason
damaged
why
product.
the reason why I put them out is because he could not give me a specific time. I told him I was not home until after 6. I got young children in my house, and with his record of being violent,
Sir, he had all that when he moved in and you let that man stay there 5 months. Now you're going to act like you couldn't even keep his things there.
I never
because
knew that
he
he
was too
was.
violent. Sir, you stayed there 5 months. You can't put folks' things out without notice. What do you say about calling this job? What evidence do you have
I got
about him
affidavits
interfering
from my
with your
work.
job, sir? Tell me
I
about
honestly, I never called his job.
These two?
and this here's the child protection one.
Okay. Thanks.
So I did report drug use to
To who?
DOC
Why?
because I did report the drug use
Why?
for marijuana, that her mother was very violent with one of the children.
Marijuana caused her to be violent.
Oh yeah, definitely. She was.
I object to that.
It was a. She was just all around violent.
I got
always.
you. So you
The
did this to her. Okay.
the affidavit from my boss there, he wrote down on
Child
the caller
protection.
ID.
All because of you all's landlord-tenant issue.
Plaintiff Nicholas Savage dated the defendant's daughter, and the defendants claim after a disagreement, Nicholas tried to get their daughter fired.
And the unpaid rent, I believe them against you. So that's $1,700. I'm going to grant them for that. Calling social services, calling your job, all in effort to sabotage your life over a landlord-tenant issue. $2,000 I'm going to grant for that. Your judgment is $3,700. And sir, with regard to the property, I'm going to grant your judgment because he failed to give notice that he was disposing of your things. And you're responsible for them if you do not give proper notice that you're putting his things out. Judgment $2,583. However, you're going to end up owing them. Judgment for the plaintiff on your damages, and the same for you. Judgment $3,700.
I ain't got nothing to say to him. I think it's just better that it's done.
I'm just glad it's done, and hopefully he'll leave us alone and stay away from us.
Been leaving you alone.
Nick, please don't argue with me.
Oh, you ain't my mom. Don't tell me what to do. Worry about
Okay,
yourself.
we done with you.